So we're back from Anarchapulco. We survived.
Yeah, yeah.
Surprisingly.
Not quite as bad as people made out. Not quite as dangerous. Yeah. So this is the Paradise Paradox. My name's Kurt Robinson.
My name is Aaron Battle. Yep. You can get to us, I prefer Twitter, BattleAZ.
Yep, at Trouble Bubble. Hit us up. The website is theparadiseparadox.com. Follow us like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, ask us a question, press subscribe, press like, all that good stuff. And yeah, so we're going to tell you all a bit about Anarchapulco, the event that we went to in Acapulco. So it's an anarchist conference, but of course, when I say the word anarchist, a lot of people get these ideas in their head, like a bunch of people wearing balaclavas or bandanas over their faces. That's not really what we're into. We're not really into vandalism.
It's more the cops.
Yeah, the cops definitely do that stuff more than we do. So this is a different kind of anarchism than what you might have heard previously. Mainly, the people attending the event were anarcho-capitalists. So they still believe in private property. They believe in respect for other people's property. They believe in peaceful means of achieving the problems. And without violence, you can't really have government as we know it today, because taxation is reliant on the threat of violence. What we consider taxation today, you get threatened into paying your taxes. If you don't pay this, then we're going to lock you up. As far as I know, everybody at that conference doesn't believe in government as a legitimate institution, at least not as we know it today. They believe government, if it should exist, then it should be voluntary.
I've got to say, I wasn't aware of all that before I said I'd go. I saw the lineup of speakers and thought Sunday they're going to cover a lot of Bitcoin.
Yep.
And I want to get some information raw from someone that's in it. So I was mainly going to meet up with some guys, maybe trade a little silver. That was my main idea, but I didn't realize all the political charge that it has behind it. I mean, I feel the same emotions, but I'll tell you what, I definitely learnt a lot from quite a few individuals this last weekend.
Good. So the organizer of the event is Jeff Berwick, who runs the dollarvigilante.com and Anarchast, the podcast, the source for anarchy on the internet. And then we had speakers like Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change, who's most famous for the 9/11 truth documentary Loose Change, and James Corbett of the Corbett Report, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, people from the Liberty Radio Network like Ernie Hancock, Angel Clark, people talking about peaceful parenting like Dana Martin, and Roger Ver is very, very famous in the Bitcoin community. He also spoke. Unfortunately, Cody Wilson was scheduled to speak, but unfortunately he wasn't able to come, which is a little disappointment, but I think we made up for it in good vibrations.
Yeah, we're all behind him. We're leaving the country or switching over borders sometimes can be a little bit risky when you're on a time frame. So you can't afford to have a slip up. So sometimes you can't travel. Yeah.
So Cody Wilson, if you haven't heard of him, is one of the members of an organization called Defense Distributed, and he was famous for creating the first gun which can almost be fully printed with a 3D printer, so it's almost all made out of plastic. There's just one piece of metal, just a nail, and you can make the Liberator, which is a gun which carries one bullet. But his current project, well, he's still working on Dark Wallet, a way to make Bitcoin anonymous, but he's also working on this project which it's a specialized form of 3D printer which only prints one thing, which is I believe it's a receiver for an AR-15 or some kind of rifle, and it's the only part which you can't legally purchase over the internet. So it makes this device, this weapon, available to anybody, because it's going to mean these receivers are so cheap that anybody can get them, anybody can find them, at least all over the US. But he had some problems distributing it through FedEx. Apparently, they didn't really want anything to do with him. That was the rumor.
Yeah, I heard there was 1,000 printing machines in his shed. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
It's like it's cool to it's cool to follow lead, but it's just surprises that you don't expect, and I'm sure he would have loved to have been there.
Yeah. Let's run an intro.
Before we jump into all the stuff that that kind of set my lights off with ideas and just future experiments, we should probably talk about how we arrived home.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm happy to jump straight into that.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, we had a few adventures all through the journey, but yeah, coming home we took a long bus ride from Acapulco to Mexico City, and then from Mexico City we were getting off at Guadalajara. When we were a little past Querétaro, yeah, we had a little problem with immigration. I thought these guys were coming on to check our tickets, and then I saw their badges of honor, and it's saying like a federal agent of immigration, and I was like, oh, okay, this doesn't look good.
I missed them getting on the bus. I only saw them walking towards us, and I was trying to send Kurt a mental message: pretend you're asleep. We don't need part of this.
Right.
Knowing that neither of us had passports on us. I mean, when we travelled down the road, there's no need to carry a passport.
Yeah, we weren't crossing any international borders, so we were like, oh, we'll just, it'll be fine. Because I don't want to go through the hassle of having, if I get my passport stolen, that opens up a whole range of problems for me. I don't want to talk to the Australian embassy particularly. So I normally don't carry it with me.
But not only that, we didn't have the FMM immigration form that apparently you're supposed to carry with you at all times.
Yeah, the tourist card, which I had a look at it just now, and it doesn't seem to actually indicate that you are supposed to carry with it all times. So how are you supposed to know that? Apparently you're just supposed to read the immigration department's mind on this issue. So they grilled us about that, and the lady's like, "Where's your passport?" I'm like, "I don't have my passport," and she's like, "You don't have a passport? Where are you from?" I could have handled that better in just about every respect.
But we're about 15 hours into bus trips at this point.
Yeah.
Bus trips and layover in Mexico.
Yeah. On about 2 hours, no, less than 2 hours sleep, like an hour and a half sleep.
The see you later extravaganza that we decided to have beside the pool.
Yeah, chilling out until 6 a.m., chatting with people all over the world and spreading the love and peace and enjoying ourselves.
3 days wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So, we're a little rusty and we're coming home, and passport issue, tourist card, visa issue. But overall, I can't say they were too bad. Like, we were pretty straight up with them.
Yeah.
We were cool. They told us to get off the bus, and all I'm thinking is, we get off the bus, they start checking my luggage, then I'm dead. So I had to make sure that was covered before that even happened. It's like, you need to make sure that, I don't know. I mean, I was carrying a little Acapulco Dream in my bag, so I knew I could not get off the bus.
Right. Okay. Acapulco Gold. Right. Snap.
Well, there's a bottle of sand.
Yeah.
Put around the plants.
Golden sand. Yeah. Spreading the dream straight from Acapulco. Capture the energy.
Yeah. So I thank them for letting us know and explaining that this shouldn't have happened in the first place. We were just in a rush and we didn't think. I mean, of course, I was using Mexican slang to say this, so I think it came across a little cooler. Like they just accepted it and said, "Okay, cool," and that was it.
Yeah. It looked like they didn't really want to bother us too much, I guess. I mean, they didn't want to go through the hassle. But, I mean, they did get on the bus and they walked directly to us. I don't think they checked anybody else's papers. Maybe a guy after us. But yeah, we were like the obvious target. You with your cat with the bent up rim.
That's my A game.
Daffy Duck.
It breaks the ice.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So we got home safe. Like I needed yesterday to recover. I know that I had a whole list of errands to do with my just home stuff. But I tell you what, I was still just on a high. I'm pumped now. just excited about what everyone's doing all over the world. In particular, I met a couple of guys from Poland, like in their capital.
Warsaw.
Yeah. That's the one. These guys are trying to set up free, unlimited access of internet to the people in the city, just open up communication. Now,
free unlimited internet by MeshNet or some other technology.
Well, I'm thinking. It's obviously very complicated. I'm not sure how much bandwidth or how wide they'll be able to get it, but just be able to get internet access, which isn't going to be able to. Well, I'm assuming they can't constrict it at any point, like censor it. So getting that kind of communication to a community today is vital. So that's what these guys are doing. And there was modest dudes talking about their project, and I thought, man, this is life-changing, world-changing stuff. So I'm hanging out with heroes. These are supermen amongst people, just doing their thing, not expecting a pat on the back. But I gave them a hug. I said, "You do that. You can make that happen."
Yeah. That was cool. I mean, there's another guy as well, Travis Boyd. He was talking about his project is doing a similar thing, but he is charging. But he sets up wireless ISPs, or they call them WISPs. And so these things, you put like a kind of satellite receiver or directional radio receiver on the side of your house, and it connects by line of sight to a kind of mobile tower. And these things, they cost about $80, but you can receive 100 megabits per second using it. He was saying, well, mesh nets, maybe, they're good, maybe they're fun for do-it-yourselfers, but right now people need internet and they're willing to pay for it, and this is one solution. So even if, say, in the United States, where you have these monopolies, or here in Mexico, you have a monopoly in an area. Here in this street, we can only get mega cable, I believe. You can't go with any other ISP. But if you have this thing, then it opens up these world of possibilities. Like, who cares about your monopoly? We'll just send this stuff right through the air.
Yeah, he explained all that as cool. MeshNet, totally about the MeshNet inside the community. But when that community hasn't got access to internet, you're going to need one of these to connect you to satellites or to a bigger hub. Like he's talking about connecting the mesh nets together, and he's building that bridge to do it. He used the same technology to ramp up the internet in the whole hotel.
Yeah.
Apparently the hotel was having internet issues. We stayed at a different hotel, so we never really had those dramas. Yeah. But apparently he was able to play with it, add a few components, and the internet just turned on. So I don't know the details of that, but to go from no internet, having internationals turn up and just fix the internet because you can, is pretty cool.
Yeah. So that was cool.
So overall, what was the experience like for you?
It was great. I met a lot of cool people. People were, willing to talk. They're just all regular people. At first, I think I was kind of apprehensive about talking to some of these guys because I thought, oh, what if they think they're too cool for me or something. But then later I was like, why did I even think that? Because they're all super cool, just regular people, and they've all got their own projects and they're willing to talk to you about it. And just... yeah, incredibly cool. I don't think I've ever been to an event with so many cool people.
It was an amazing vibe.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no need to feel anything about not being able to go up to someone and say, hey, how you doing? I saw you in this interview. I've seen this documentary of yours. I mean, most of the people there, they're all active participants of this. I keep calling it this movement, but I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, you could call it the movement. Yeah, the liberty movement. Yeah.
So, I felt the same way. I remember commenting to you, I said, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. Everyone's kind of in their little groups, like, first day. Everyone's kind of, partnering off and hanging out, and I'm thinking I'm back at another conference where I need to network. What hard work.
Yeah.
But we would have been there maybe 15 minutes before we found ourselves in a little group. Everyone's like throwing in their ideas into a circle, a few comments, and then, where are you from? What are you up to? It was just so easy to talk, and everyone respected your idea. Everyone wanted to hear you out. And then if they couldn't tell you any way to do it better, they said, mad. Keep it up.
Yep. Should we take a break?
Press like, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube, send us a tweet at BattleAZ at Trouble Bubble.
So just to follow up on what you said about just everything being so cool, just so comfortable.
Yeah.
I was on the bus over the smoothest run. It was perfect sun. I'm still on a high from the
Today.
Yeah, today. It was like just a beautiful day coming over, and I'm thinking, how am I going to explain to these guys, what this event meant to me? What did I? Yeah, we saw mad speakers. We got a lot of good ideas. I got a whole lot more, friends on various social medias. It's all good, but like, what are you guys going to get when you guys come next year? Yeah. So for me, it was like it really made it real that what I'm doing is important. Like that, I was like step one. Everything we do we need to do it with commitment and pride, because every single day, an action is going to you're going to act and conform to a way that's either going to be with your beliefs and not. Now, I can say personally, I wasn't 100% like believe in the the direction of the movement before I really felt some of these other people's stories.
Right, because the first time I kind of talked about this was that episode we recorded about 2 months ago. Yeah, episode 3, where I was like, isn't it better if we do things voluntarily rather than forcing people? And you said yes, and I was like, well, that's pretty much it then.
Yeah, even that interview for me, that podcast was almost a little bit it was uncomfortable. Yeah. Because I was like, you know what, man, don't tell me anything about this stuff. I'm just going to jump in and get me to work out my own definitions. And as awkward as it was, I know that changed my life. Yeah. Because now I'm more concrete on different ideas. Like you talk about voluntarism. Yeah. It's like, I was like, cool, everyone does things, everyone's free to do what they want. Yeah. Yes, but there's certain systems that remove that choice. Anyway, so I got to know a few of those. But
systems, you mean like government systems that are in place now? Is that what you're talking
I'm talking about having to pay a tax.
Exactly, yeah, right.
So we all have a responsibility to the world to question what we're doing day to day, and is this going to help ourselves to freedom? Yeah. Or am I just doing what I need to do? And if you're in a survival situation, cool. But if you can choose to do a job that might be slightly less paid, or might have more value in it, or whatever makes it hard for you to do that job, if you know that's going to be beneficial to the community, well then it's pretty simple what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And I met a lot of people that had that definition in their mind. They knew exactly what they were doing, which is really cool.
Yeah. And this is interesting for me too, because I know you pretty much knew all this stuff, but you didn't have it codified. Like you didn't have the names for all the ideas, but you knew it all naturally. You knew that, like, when you started your business, you just went out into the street and started selling. And that spirit of entrepreneurialism and freedom that, well, people don't have so much in Australia, but you understood it.
You find a couple hundred of those people and put them in a room. That's what we had.
Yeah.
So it was, there was no way you're going away from that experience with nothing. I tried to bring it down to what exactly could I compare it to as an experience. And I think it's pretty common that two experiences people have is that first after party they have at school, maybe the first time they get wasted or loaded or whatever, the first trip out, the first time they have sex. These are the events that change your life. Acapulco's gone on that list. This is a game changer.
Yeah.
And we're charged.
Yeah. I've never been to an event like that. Yeah. Well, one thing I thought was cool. The first day we met a dude named Christoph Heuermann, and he's a guy from Germany. He's working on an idea called Bit Nation, which is an idea, they call it Governance 2.0. So it's an idea about replacing government services using blockchain technology, the same technology that Bitcoin uses. So you can do stuff like registration of property deeds without using a government service. And it's going to be mostly, for the most part, it will be free. So he gives the example of, say, a guy in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. He's owned a place, or he's been living in a house for 3 or 5 years, but there's no way he can prove it. So if something bad happens, the tropa elite or the government comes in and says, no, this isn't your house anymore, he won't have any way to prove his claim. And so this is a way to establish that kind of service. But the interesting thing was, I thought, well, this is this guy. He's obviously very sensible. He's very rational, and I thought, I better be careful what I say to him, because maybe if I start talking about our previous episodes where we're talking about God or spirituality, morphic resonance, all this spiritual or somewhat spiritual stuff, he might dismiss me as like a kooky hippie woo-woo type dude. He asked me which religions do you mention in the podcast about God. And I said one of them, which is important to me, is Taoism. And he said, "Oh, really? I'm also a Taoist." And he pulled out a yin yang from his necklace, and I was like, "Whoa, okay." Later on Facebook, I saw him write, "I'm so glad to know I'm not the only market anarchist who thinks more in terms of holism, who doesn't just reduce things to their elements or is just a pure materialist." He wrote something like that, and I was like, "This is cool," because I did expect more people to be materialist in terms of philosophical materialism, like only believing that things. That physical matter is what exists, but all of these people are asking the questions. All of these people have had some kind of spiritual experience, whether it's psychedelic or through meditation, yoga, all these types of things, and they make them question. There's very open-minded people, and they say, "What is this? What is this, and what does this mean?" And those are beautiful questions.
He was a very smooth operator. He was one of the first guys that we spoke to.
Yeah.
And to find out that he just jumped on a plane and came over from Germany, where he's talking about the functionality of Bit Nation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking, I'm going to register my kids on Bit Nation. Yeah. I don't want them to have a birth certificate.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's cool, you can put your property and all that in there, because the officers that do this now are the same officers that also seem to bend the rules when they need to. So, you put it in the blockchain, it's there, open source for everyone to see whenever somebody wants to build a system to report it.
Yeah.
It's there and you're done, you're covered. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden you got a little concrete behind you. So, and I want to interview him. He's going to come and dinner with us next week.
Yeah, he's coming to Guadalajara for a few days, so we'll grab him and grill him about that. It should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I was really looking forward to getting in touch with Jose Rodriguez, the CEO of Unisend, which is one of the up and coming Bitcoin exchanges here in Mexico. I originally came across him because I saw his interview with Max Kaiser, where he was very open with publicly announcing the situation with the Mexican peso His interactions with the Mexican bank, which are very cooperative, he mentioned, they haven't restricted Bitcoin, they haven't tried regulating Bitcoin, they're happy to work with it. And he even mentioned, they're interested in their own way of connecting the peso to a digital currency, or that's all open for now. But to find a government that is open to talking about it, that's pretty cool. And I know the Bank of Mexico has been very helpful with helping other exchanges connect to banks to allow the flow of pesos into a cryptocurrency through Bitcoin. So I wanted to sit down and have a chat with him. I saw him for like 5 minutes. We shook hands. He was, it was a cool interaction. He tried challenging me to a game of rugby. I said I haven't played in a while. I've got to stretch my knees. But he was just straight up like, "Hey, my name is. What are we going to do?" Like not even. He didn't even ask me like what I'm working on, or why I need to talk to him. He was able to just to pass on. Obviously I can help you with something. If there is, let's do it. So I had a brief chat with him about writing my thesis and trying to work out a model for working network effect on a cryptocurrency. And he in his talk he mentioned that they originally started in Argentina, and the majority of their work is there now. They've moved back to Mexico, where he's running the show here, but they're also in the near future going to Brazil, where they're going to do it. And they said, Brazil's a bigger market than Mexico. For Unisend, Brazil's going to be amazing. So I wouldn't mind getting some data between the three countries and maybe their adoption or something. See how fast or how valuable the people are finding it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We'll work something out.
Yeah, plug that right into your thesis. So what's Unisend about?
Unisend allows you to send money in any currency through a website to a text message or a code to someone else that has a Unisend account, and you're able to go to a Bancomer bank ATM here in Mexico, put the code in, and it's going to give you money straight away. It's like that transaction of money. The person, I'm not sure what level you need an account, because obviously you need the app on your phone or the ability to get a text message to your phone. Yeah. But just being able to send money, because I know Mexico it's quite heavily. There's a lot of people in the USA working and sending money back to families in Mexico. So allowing that liberation through Bitcoin and just having a number that you can go to an ATM and get money out comfortably, legally, and cheap. We've got a good thing going on here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm getting tingly. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, that's a kind of technology which they'd be excited seeing in other developing countries, like all over Africa, where there's migrant farmers. When they can remit money more easily all across Africa, as opposed to struggle to use things like M-Pesa, which isn't quite keeping up technologically. Bitcoin already has the potential to do what M-Pesa is aspiring to do.
Yeah. Well, we're taking that access to money and linking that to a direct ability to be able to access something you need for yourself, for your family. Like money's the tick of approval when you're trying to do a transaction. And just thinking of the Mexican experience here, when you set up a business, you can only really, unless you're playing big, you can only really send or sell to the local community. Like there's, I think even like postal services, it's not adopted. Like you don't do internet shopping here in Mexico. A lot of it's you go to the markets and you're trading cash. But when these same people are able to jump that, and all of a sudden they're selling to other communities or receiving money from family in the US, like we just mentioned, then all of a sudden there's like other avenues of cash flow coming in that's going to circulate at the bottom level. So, in the markets, this is money that's going to come straight into families that need this money to, like, I could say just on that, if we're talking about fees being removed, you're going to have families that are going to receive 10% more value.
Yeah. And maybe as much as 30 or 40%.
It could be.
Because Western Union is like, if you're sending a small amount with Western Union, the fees are nuts. I think it's only when you're sending about $100 when the fee drops down to about 10%. So
when you've only got $50 after your week of work because you've been mowing lawns and painting cars all week, you cop the big fee.
Yeah.
And you might pay 20% because out of your $50, only 40 got here.
Yeah, yeah. And that extra, that extra 100 pesos, 120, 150 pesos make a big difference to a Mexican family, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked to Juan Galt for a while. So he's working on this project called the SuperNet, and this is a way of linking all these different cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency platforms together. So one example that he gave was if you want to buy something anonymously over the internet, well, maybe you can just with a few clicks send it through about 5 different forms of anonymizing, so there's no way it can be traced back to you.
Yep.
And that could be very cool. There's a lot of potential there to evade the government, so we don't have to worry about the feds being on our asses for violating some arbitrary law.
I really like that there's more than one blockchain that's going to be involved in this level of encryption. Like we also heard there's a few ideas on how different blockchain attacks. But what this is good for, like it just jumps all that. Like irrespective of one blockchain getting attacked or getting accessed or whatever, because of the encryptions going across several blockchains or in between. Like they mentioned, you could send a Bitcoin, a transaction or whatever. It can pass through, might pass through Darkcoin, and then it goes across a counterparty coin or something, and then it comes back to Bitcoin and jumps in the other end. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is so simple. Why wasn't this solution just more common? Maybe when anonymity was an issue in the first place, which will always be. So it's like why wasn't it there from the beginning? But and then I got like the buses after the attack in the Batman movie where the Joker robs the bank, and he just cruises his bus out in the line of many buses. No one knows which one was his. It's like that's the way I saw the blockchains. It's like you send out your package, your transaction,
right,
and it just gets blended in all the transactions, going in all different doors. And it's like, what? Maybe it's a little extra load to the blockchain, but when you got it across several blockchains, it will find a shortcut and it'll be efficient. So that's something I didn't quite get. I didn't understand. Until they told me on the weekend, and I thought, genius. Okay, I could have thought of that. Bullshit.
Yeah. He also brought up Ethereum. So he mentioned Ethereum, and I believe that the aspiration or the idea is that they're going to make a Turing-complete scripting language, which means that basically the Ethereum scripting language can do anything that a computer can do, more or less. So that means that you can have, like, you send your Bitcoins into Ethereum, and Ethereum sorts the whole thing out, maybe arranges it, distributes it, like maybe some kind of automated royalty distribution system or something like that, which we might end up using for paying our contributors to our YouTube channel, or we could do that.
We've got plans.
Yeah. Another technology, I don't think there was anyone there officially representing it, but I want to mention this because it's important. MaidSafe. You know much about MaidSafe?
Collective storage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's a decentralized storage system. So say you have a lot of people join the MaidSafe network. Say you allocate about 10 gigabytes of hard drive space to the network. Then whenever somebody saves data, it's going to cut it into tiny little pieces, sends out about 5 of them, 5 copies of each piece all over the world, very strongly encrypted, and a few of them will arrive on your hard drive. And likewise, when you want to save something and store something on this distributed cloud, it will be spread out across all of these computers. And so what I imagine in the future is you'll have an operating system which is based on MaidSafe, and you could be, say I log out of my computer here in Mexico, go down to Ecuador and log into my friend's console, type in my name and password, and it comes up with my desktop my background, all my icons on there, all my data is on there, and then I can access it from there without even having to carry any physical device. So it's this very futuristic image.
Just the only issue might be which keyboard are you using, because I'm talking about upgrading keyboards and things.
Right? If your friend plugs in a Dvorak keyboard and you're trying to touch type in your password, I'm sure we can figure that out.
Chicken thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's also interesting because with the internet protocol, with the HTTP protocol as it is at the moment, if you basically there's no way to avoid denial of service attacks. The way the protocol is structured, it's just a fact. It's a natural conclusion that anybody who sends a bunch of requests for data is going to be able to bring down your site. The only question is, how many are they going to have to send and how frequently? But with MadeSafe, it's set up differently because it means that the more requests for data there are, the more copies of the data there are. And so that changes things. That means we don't have to worry about denial of service attacks anymore. I guess Anonymous might be put out of commission for a while on that front, at least.
I want to jump back to Ethereum.
Yeah,
because it's a big jump too. When you're talking about having a full Turing language, which means it's essentially a
Turing,
a full
Alan Turing.
But what does that mean?
Okay, so before computers were commonplace, Alan Turing came up with a sort of definition of a computer called a Turing machine, and it basically means that this device can manipulate data, and it can move through and select different data.
So it's like a full access language. I mean, where you can start building anything on top of.
Yes.
As if the blockchain is the computer.
More or less. Not entirely, because I mean, not the blockchain. Like there might be data in the blockchain, which is actually a script.
Yeah.
You read the script, miners and the other computers on the network process that script and tell it what to do with the Bitcoins or what to do with the Ethereum coins or what have you.
So it's like the RAM of a supercomputer.
It's it's not just the RAM. It's the programming language. It's the scripting language. So it tells you, it tells it what to do.
Okay. No, yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it could do and it's going to do everything.
Yeah.
But I know you looked into it, so I wanted to hear what it was.
Yeah. Well, that's just what I heard out of the mouth of Juan Galt, and yeah, I mean, with Bitcoin itself, I don't think anybody's set this up yet, but Bitcoin already has the potential for smart contracts, but it's just like a very simple script. Like it says, if this condition is complete, for example, it'll say, if the paradiseparadox.com has reaches episode 100, then give Aaron Battle, or that is, send this address 1 Bitcoin, and it just sends it right through.
Just on that, we do have our Bitcoin address up. So we assure you all donations will be rolled back into producing a higher quality show.
Yeah. yeah.
Joby
Weeks.
Who was that guy? Never heard of him in my life. He jumps up on stage. He's like 7 foot. And
he's a powerhouse of a man.
There's no script, constant laughing, had the whole room just buzzing. He's working on some exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Almost too good to be true. I did. As soon as I had a chance, I saw him open. I was like, I gotta hit him up. I need to ask him some questions. He is opening out his. It appears that this company that he's working with or on is going to allow everyone to eventually, or this could be stage 1, to get in off the grid in regard to your electricity.
Yeah.
So he's got the example Kurt mentioned in the last video, but it's basically a financing plan where, similar to phones, where you receive your phone up front, no cost, but you have a plan. where he's looking after that with houses and solar panels. He mentioned battery stacks or...
Yeah, so battery stacks from Solar City, Elon Musk's cousin's company. Breakthrough technology in batteries. Because of the storage capacity of the batteries, you can have a wall of batteries in your home, store the excess solar energy when it's not being used, and that means solar energy is a lot more useful because it doesn't have to be immediately coming from the sun. It can hang out for a while before you use it.
Yeah, but I mean, even that's not really a big issue, because now the new solar panels he mentioned absorb UV light. So it can be overcast, and it's able to absorb direct energy. Like, it's not even about being in the sun anymore. It's just about having them in the light, or having them on the roof, which I'm assuming that's where you put them.
Yeah.
But I'd ask him, like, you know, how is this working? Like, are you seriously got enough? Like, are we going to because he mentioned a whole he went into it and how he's going to distribute and sales and a few different things like that. But I think the adoption of this deal is going to be so big, I'm not sure if he's ready for how many people are going to jump on board. Because I said, you're going to need thousands of salespeople.
Yeah.
Like, the US is huge. And if it kicks off, then, you know, why stop there? I mean, Australia already went through their phase where government was issuing subsidies for putting solar panels on your house.
Yeah, I think they've cut that out now, though.
Yeah, well, if people are asking for it, they better do it again. Otherwise, Joby's going to rock up there and do it for them.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great because at the moment, say your bill might be $100 a month, and he comes in and says, all right, we're going to cut that in half. Like, you're going to be paying us $50 a month for your electricity service. So you save money. We make money on selling you the solar panels, and forget the electricity company. That's the people who lose out in this situation, because you're going to be having your own electricity source. And after about 5 or 10 years, making these regular payments, you pay off the device completely, and then you have this beautiful solar panel receiving this virtually free energy, very cheap energy from the sun.
With the option to disconnect and just run free, or have the electricity company pay you to keep up their infrastructure. Because most people, by what I hear, are probably going to receive more electricity than what they're going to use, especially if they've got a stack in their garage holding, like, I don't know how much electricity, but if you can get Tesla cars to run from one side of the country to the other, and with a few charges, I'm sure you can charge a battery stack well.
Yeah.
So it's I had to ask him, like, is that for real? He told me the whole thing, his structure and everything, and man, it's solid. Like, you know what he's talking about.
Yeah, the combinations of these few technologies and these few methods of distribution could change the world's dependence on oil. Well, it could reduce it significantly in just a few years, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Well, I want to get a house in the mountains. I want to see the price of this technology drop, so that I can just get as far enough away from everyone as I can, and just live like Wolverine, plus some kids.
Live like Wolverine. I'm not sure if I've seen that movie. Which one are you referring to?
He escapes. I don't know. He's
a concentration camp.
The lab or wherever that gave him the upgrades.
Okay.
And he's in the woods, mountains of Canada with his undercover girlfriend, and he's just hanging out with his axe, just doing the man thing.
Okay. Why do you need an axe when you have adamantium claws?
Watch us again at Paradise Paradox. Watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, tweet us on Twitter, and listen to us on iTunes or Pocket Casts.
One of the last things I noticed, like something that away from the speakers and just the fun that we had, I found myself falling into a very similar conversation, quite a bit with different people that are thinking of moving here.
Yep.
Like, it was impressive the amount of the amount of anarchists that are looking to move to Mexico, or at least just here on an extended holiday to see, what's going to work before they move to looking at some other country. So there's a lot of talk of buying property and different visas, and someone mentioned like a retiree visa, which looked very cool. But the conversation I had with someone in particular was about bringing a family down and being concerned about the culture and the language. It's like, I can't even speak Spanish. How am I going to... Everyone does it and we all act like it's so cool and so easy. But it's quite daunting when you get to a country and you can't speak the language. Yeah. More so, they look at you just blank, like, you're trying, but we're not giving you nothing until you tell me what you want.
Well, one thing on that point, like of course, one app which came up is Duolingo, which is very good. You can get that on Android or iPhone, and that will help you learn a lot of vocabulary and sentence structure. Also, I always recommend Michelle Thomas. Is a very good audio course for you to start learning a language, and it'll point out the similarities between English and Spanish, so you can pick it up very quickly. Or there's also Pimsleur, which is very good, but it's a bit slower. Yeah.
Well, with that language, I think we forget that 70% of the common language is body language. So irrespective of whether you can say the words or pronunciation or just being a bit nervous about all that, like you need to learn the language, the street language, the way you walk, the way you lean when you're waiting for something, the way you stand when you've ordered something and you're waiting for it to turn up, because we're in Mexico, everything's on Mexican time. Yeah. And I even bought a few things on the way over here, and it's like, it's cool, you're hanging there, the system's slow. They wander over to pick up what you want. They're wrapping it the Mexican style. Like, it's a nice way to live, but you can't be uncomfortable in between these gaps where you're not sure what's happening. So,
well, you're always going to be a bit uncomfortable, but don't make it hard on yourself.
Don't make it hard on yourself. So, you said you tried a few things. We've been here at this stage maybe 3, going on 4 months now, roughly, and other trips beforehand. But what have you picked up?
Yeah, so I remember months ago on Tim Ferriss's website, I read a post where a dude was talking about learning languages, and he mentioned when he was learning Arabic in Egypt, nobody would want to talk to him in Arabic. They would all go up and start talking English, even when he asked them for directions in Arabic. So what he did was he started dressing more like an Egyptian. He started wearing the clothes, even Muslim type dress, and he started paying attention to their body language, especially in the way they walk, because that's like a key signal of whether you actually fit in there or not. And you can, like, if you watch people walk in the street, you can pick up who's European and who's American, like, almost instantly. Yeah, it's so easy.
Once you hear it, stands out. But just the clothes, I've been dressing like a cowboy for months. I love it. When I can find boots my size, then I'm 100%. Yeah. So you can watch people in the street and imitate them. And what this fellow said in the article, we'll put the link in the description there. He said that after a few months of imitating the way people walked, people would start coming up to him and asking for directions. And I had the same experience, actually, when I was focusing on this. People would start asking me for directions as if I was a local. Yeah, and it's a very cumulative effect. When you're not feeling the sting of kids, pulling at mum going, look at this guy, then you kind of feel the flow. And then, you almost get to be, invisible. You get comfortable and, you're moving around. And we mentioned that it'd be cool to share more of those ideas with you. So, let's get some notes together on different things that we do and we've learned, and share them with you guys.
Yeah, but one basic thing is like the handshake. Like, it goes like this: you slap the hands together and then you fist bump. So that's like a very simple signal to indicate that on some level you understand the culture here. Yeah,
it's like if you do that to someone and they don't expect it, then they feel like they let you down. Like they feel like, oh, okay, obviously this, here I am judging this guy for not being Mexican enough, yet he's as Mexican as all of us. And or if you pull it off and they're cool with it, then they're probably likely to give you a good seat. They're going to make sure that you're comfortable. They're going to attend you as if, you're family. Whereas if you act like a tourist, then you're a tourist. You're going to pay double, you're going to sit at the back, you're going to have the speakers in your head. It's like, it's just part of the game.
So an interesting thing happened on our last taxi ride back to the hotel there in Acapulco.
Complete surprise. I was just happy to get home. Actually, I thought they were going to mug us because there was two guys in the front of this taxi, and we just jumped in like, "You're going to give us a good price? Cool, let's go."
I think they changed the price when we arrived, actually, because I don't remember what price they told us originally. I think they bumped it up from 40 to 60. But
I thought they were going to take us for free at one point. I was hoping to get a free ride. But they wouldn't accept that I was Australian. They just wouldn't. I don't know what that was. I didn't even really remember what I said.
Yeah. I found it difficult to follow the conversation at 6 a.m. with this guy bumping the stereo and fluorescent lights in the front and everything. But he was like, you're not Australian, güey. Eres Acapulqueño. Like, you're from Acapulco for sure, man.
I just played cool. I said, yeah, sure, okay. No, actually, I tried telling him that I wasn't. But anyway, like it was a cool way to just we had a solid conversation. We gave them business cards. They're going to watch our podcast. That was cool. They actually got us thinking that we should presenting this in Spanish because I feel like there's a hunger for information here in Mexico.
Yeah. Like Mexican people are very open-minded. They don't really have any prejudices. And the other day on the beach, talking to this young lady, Priscilla, that I met, and I started telling her how about in Australia, when I tell people about these libertarian or anarchist ideas, they get very defensive. But I said to her, like, Mexicans don't have that prejudice. Like, I can say to you, these things are extremely obvious. The day is light, the night is dark, taxation is theft. And she said, yeah, of course, 100%. Like that requires zero explanation.
But it's not in your frontal lobe. Like, it's not hanging over your eyes all the time. Like,
right.
we're so in the wheel of what government does to us. Like, we need to realize that there's another way. And I think the Mexican people are just like, the government's going to keep robbing us. We're going to get paid less every year. Everything's going to keep going up. But no one takes responsibility and says, what can we do? It's like that question isn't there. But let's put the full stop in.
Yeah,
let's turn it on.
Yeah, all we have, like, all of the ideas together, we just have to point them in one direction, and Mexicans will all say, "Oh, hang on, government's shit. Let's try something else."
I was even thinking of just telling about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like the penetration of information in English of Bitcoin is so vast. I mean, there's information from like the last 5 years. But in Mexico, it's like, 1 year old or less. People don't know what it is. Anyway, we got the conference coming up in a couple of weeks, a couple of months. I gotta have a look. I want to be involved. I need to be part of this.
Yeah, so we're expecting to have a Bitcoin conference somewhere around Guadalajara. Yeah. So, final note, I just wanted to say thanks to Jeff Bowick, and also thanks to Sarah Z. I don't actually know her last name, but and Matt Davis. These people did a lot putting together this event and arranging and making sure it all ran smoothly. So that was all very cool.
Yeah, 100%. Big thank you to Sarah and Mac.
Yeah.
They were always there in the morning, telling everyone where to go.
Yeah.
But just thanks to everyone that went. Like, it was the way it was because you went there. So I'll see you next year, and bring your brother or sister so we can expand the family.
Pick up a Mexican girl on the way and tell her you're going to open her mind a little bit. She'll be into it.
Does that work?
I don't know. I've never tried that line before. All right.
Maybe you should. It'd be cool.
Cool. All right. So press like, press subscribe, comment, tell us what you think. Tell us if you're coming next year because we want to see you. And subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on YouTube. Visit us, www.theparadiseparadox.com. Find us on Facebook. And we love you.
Nailed it. Peace.
Peace.